Save the sardines. The humble can of sardines. Every day, millions of Filipinos open a can or two of sardines. Some because they love the savory dish, many others because it's the only food option they have. Canned sardines is the go-to food of the Filipino masses. It is cheap and sold even in the smallest and most remote sari-sari store. But do you know where the sardines come from? The subtropical waters of the Philippines is home to thousands of different species of fishes and marine life. Philippines, along with 5 other countries, form the so-called Coral Triangle. The Coral Triangle is recognized as the global center of marine biodiversity and a global priority for conservation, hosting a whopping 75% of the world's marine species. The Philippines is smack in the middle of this priceless natural resource. We are the center of the world's center of marine biodiversity. Over 120 million people in the Coral Triangle depend on the sea for food. In the Philippines, fish is the primary source of animal protein. Of all kinds of fishes Filipinos eat, the most common is sardines, making up 22% of all fishes caught. Generally, Filipinos bring home their sardines in 2 ways: fresh or processed. Processed sardines seem to be the more popular way. Filipinos consume roughly 500 million cans of sardines each year. On top of this is the annual 2.6 million of the more pricey bottled sardines produced in the northern part of the peninsula, in Dipolog and Dapitan, which translates to approximately $2.5 million. Almost all of the huge volume of canned and bottled sardines produced in the Philippines come from the Zamboanga Peninsula. These sardines, commonly known as tamban, are harvested from the Sulu-Celebes Sea. Of the dozen or so sardine canneries in the country, 11 are in Zamboanga City. It is the biggest industry of the region, employing roughly 30,000 workers, harvesting 80,000 tons of tamban, with gross aggregate sales of $100 million each year, making it the sardine capital of the Philippines. But can the Sulu-Celebes Sea keep up with the demand of the Filipinos and the industry? Scientists believe that if harvest is not controlled, the sardine population will dwindle and eventually die out. This can happen if fishers harvest too much, or if they harvest fishes with eggs, or if they harvest fishes that are still young. Climate change is also harming marine ecosystems through warming and rising seas and ocean acidification. Domestic and industrial waste thrown in creeks and rivers end up in a sea, stressing and suffocating marine life. Illegal, unregulated fishing methods such as dynamite and cyanide fishing cause destruction of the coral reefs, which serves as the habitat and breeding ground of sardines. All of these threats are real. If no action is taken, canned sardines, loved and depended on by many Filipinos, might soon become a thing of the past. So what can we do to save the sardines? In 2011, the government started implementing an annual 3-month ban on fishing of sardines in the waters around Zamboanga Peninsula. The ban coincides with the spawning period of sardines. Surprisingly, the ban was initiated by both the fishing and canning industry. The industry explained that it is in their best interest to ensure the long-term health of the sardine supply. This fishing ban is the first successfully implemented one in the Philippines and in Southeast Asia. Although implementation is not always smooth sailing, the ban has been, to a considerable extent, successful, with all parties cooperating. So successful that other places in the country are poised to replicate it. The fishing ban in Zamboanga Peninsula is further proof that collaboration between sectors is the only way to save marine resources. Aside from the fishing ban, there are other ways to protect the sardines in the Sulu-Celebes Sea. These include strengthening law enforcement against those who use illegal fishing practices, setting up of fish farms following good aquaculture practices so that instead of fishing from the ocean, we can harvest them from fish farms, Even ordinary citizens can do something like helping keep rivers and seas free of garbage and planting mangroves to protect the nursery grounds of fishes, providing young sardines and other species with a healthy place to grow and later to reproduce. We can help preserve the health of our oceans by staying informed about developments in fishery and marine resource protection. We can save the sardines by spreading the word to family and friends. The socio-economic and ecological value of sardines to the Filipino people cannot be understated. Establishing a sustainable and productive fishery is not the definitive endpoint. Rather, it should be seen as a continual pursuit. You have the power to turn the tide. Make everyday changes that will help prevent the dying out of the sardine stock of Sulu Celebes Sea. Take part in the conservation of the seas and marine life. Help save the sardines.